Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm Santosh Bengi, and I'm the moderator for the webinar. This webinar is on how Suneratech can help our customers and many Oracle customers to migrate Oracle workloads to OCI at zero cost. The agenda for today's webinar would be introducing Sunera Technologies and the speakers for our webinar. Why move Oracle workloads to OCI? Why zero cost, no risk cloud migration is a need of the hour? And many people have a lot of questions in terms of the investments that has to be made for a migration. So what is zero cost cloud migration about, and why is it important? And where do we get these savings from? We will follow this with a couple of case studies in terms of how our customers have benefited. And then we will be open for Q&A. Also, if any one of you has any questions, please feel free to key in the questions, and we would be more than happy to take these questions. This webinar is for 20 minutes, followed by the Q&A. So to introduce our panelists, speakers today, we have Ravi Reddy, who is the founder and CEO of Sunera Technologies. We also have Harsha Putta, who is a global delivery head for the Cloud BU at Sunera Technologies. Over to you, Ravi.
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. Thanks, everyone, for joining the call. So what I'm going to spend just a few minutes on is set the platform for Harsha to get into details of what we do in zero cost cloud migration and how we go about it. As an organization, we've been doing these cloud migrations now for 7 years, and we've done largest number of Oracle workloads migrations to OCI. We've been bruised pretty badly during the migrations of Oracle workloads to OCI in Gen 1, when it was called Classic. Then we moved to Gen 2. Today, we are in, second generation cloud, which is significantly matured than where we were 6 years ago. So we're going to share some of those experiences. But then, one thing what we've done, being born in a cloud company, is we've taken this unique approach as an organization to make sure the cloud journey is platform-led. And platform is nothing but harnessing all the experiences we've gained with every cloud migration and converting that into our IP, such that cloud journeys are faster and less riskier, so that it is just not people dependent. The best practices are embedded in the platform. So that's what defines Suneratech. We are a platform-led digital transformation company that enables first in accelerating you to get onto cloud first, so that you can take advantage of all the cloud services to transform your business into digital. Having said that, we are also an Oracle's cloud services partner. We've been in MSP. We are a full stack cloud partner for Oracle. What it means is we have, as much as we have cloud infrastructure experience, equal amount of depth we have in cloud applications and cloud integrations and the platform itself. So when we migrate, given our complete cloud capability, we bring a significant amount of depth in the workload itself that we are migrating. And so hence we are able to understand whether we need to do re-platforming of the operating system, upgrade the database, make sure that the application code base is certified for the cloud, so that when we are moving to OCI, we do all the necessary steps required to migrate. So we don't depend, we are not just a cloud infrastructure, we are a complete cloud partner. What we're doing here is making sure that eliminating the risks by ensuring the constantly updating our service delivery platform. And you're going to hear a little bit on that today, right? So that all challenges that we've faced and solutions we've built are embedded in our service delivery platform. So while we do that, what are some of the 5 significant benefits that you get when you move to OCI, right? As we go to the next slide, we're going to see some of these benefits that that customers have realized. I'm going to talk about two whys. First why is, why should you move Oracle workloads to OCI? And then the second why is, why ZCCM? So these are the 5 key reasons, while there are many other reasons to move to OCI depending on which Oracle workload. We'll not have enough time to get into detail of why for every single workload, but broadly, it's definitely lower cost, given the way Oracle has designed the BYOL and the Oracle architecting the Oracle workloads to reside on OCI. So OCI definitely is lower total cost of ownership when compared to other cloud OEMs when you're looking at an Oracle workload. The performance benchmark, definitely Oracle workloads, we have seen, we are a multi-cloud partner. We have customers where we manage Azure, AWS, Oracle, especially Oracle workloads, whether it is ERP, databases, and integrations. We've seen that the performance is significantly better on OCI for Oracle workloads. It is much easier to tune, identify performance bottleneck, and ensure we manage the performance better in Oracle workloads because of the end-to-end visibility of the workload to infrastructure. Definitely, given the autonomous database and higher availability capability, you are looking at higher availability as one of the benefits. Significant benefit is that your database availability is better managed in the OCI, especially if it is Oracle database, than any other cloud work. We've also been able to take advantage of the autonomous database because the total cost of ownership also is defined by the amount of, how much time you're spending in patching and managing the databases. Autonomous enables us the ability to reduce the total cost of ownership by, taking advantage of autonomous features and, optimizing some of the database management cost. The last key benefit is something that I like personally the best, is because the ability to do, the provisioning, most businesses see the benefit of agility at scale once they are on cloud. The especially ability to provision and deprovisioning the instances and the services in cloud is super beneficial, especially if you're wanting to deliver the benefit of agility to your business, where you're able to provision new services, quickly do POCs, and show it to business. And taking the advantage of self-tuning and integrated database and apps capability, right? So I think the agility that you get in instance management through provisioning. So while these are the 5 key benefits, let me now talk about why zero cost, and how to. So we believe, having worked with hundreds of customers today, we believe that 90%, maybe 100% of customers today I've met with have cloud first. It's very rare to find CIO who says cloud second. Now, though every CIO has cloud first as the agenda, I still see a lot of resistance, or for various reasons, that they're able to move at that pace to cloud. And one of the reasons that I see constantly is there is no new funding that is available to migrate these applications, do a lift and shift onto cloud, because business users is not convinced that they get anything new from an application capability or feature capability for which they need to allocate new budgets. So the CIO organization is unable to get business to believe that by moving this workload to new infrastructure on cloud is delivering any significant benefit. As a result, getting a business case and getting a budget is becoming, especially when you have to pay your existing infrastructure and get a new funding. The second is articulating the value of moving, both short-term and more importantly, long-term value of rapid innovation, unable to create a compelling business case, especially from a long-term perspective, while most business cases I see are being built purely around cost savings, right? But we believe that there is a long-term business case that is being missed out in a lot of business cases. And last but not the least, I think that there's a lot of fear of the risk because CIO organizations haven't done too many cloud migrations in the past. So there is a lot of resistance as to, is it essential that we need to do it now? At the same time, business sees the production downtime to cut over and do the testing and remove, take away time from their BAU activities to make that time available for doing the multiple testing are some of the reasons we see as the risk of failure because of, will my application work the same way it was working before? How much downtime do I need? These are the three reasons I see that customers are unable to get the cloud first, moving at the pace they want. And by funding this whole migration upfront by Sunera, we are eliminating these three blind spots or obstacles that CIOs are facing. Now I'll let Harsha get into greater detail on what do we do and how do we do it. Over to you, Harsha.
Thanks, Ravi. Thanks everyone for joining. Right. I want to stay here on this slide for 30 more seconds and explain. Like I met an infrastructure manager for a financial organization this morning. Then I met his boss, who's a vice president. Then I met his boss, who's a CIO. Right. This is exactly the same set of questions we got. The infrastructure manager went into the detail of, hey, Harsha, I got so many challenges. I want to move to cloud, right? But I'm not able to articulate the fact. I can only go and tell that I'm facing shit, right? The vice president comes and says, I'm in between. My boss only, understands the story about numbers, right? But we also are scared of the risk. So given the model, what we're going to discuss is what exactly I spoke with him, right? So let me go to what is zero cost and zero risk migration methodology. It's a very simple thing. It's a 2-point thing. We, Suneratech, we invest in migration, right? We, as a cloud service partner, right? We are a managed service partner also certified for Oracle. We get the cloud credits to the table required. If, let's say, you are the customer and you are staying on the data center and you're already paying for, let's say you've outsourced your data center to somebody and you're paying for hosting charges and you're also paying for services, managing the services. What we do is like, while you continue to have that environment live, we do a parallel migration program by investing in it completely. We buy the cloud credits, we bring the people, we bring the architectural knowledge. So all the upfront cost of migration, as we will see in the following example, in the ranges of 6 to 7 million, Sunera has invested and taken the migration cost completely out of the picture for the customer upfront. And what do we get in return, right? We get 3 or 5 years, managed services contract post-migration. While doing this, we also take it to the level where the risk is completely, moved to us. We don't get paid unless we migrate all the workloads and all the workloads go live, right, on the cloud. So Sunera gets paid only after the entire migration happens. All planned workloads are live in the cloud, right? So what this does is this shifts the risk to us. The penalty of failure, also falls on Sunera, and it also increases our, accountability in making this happen. And this we're not saying just on paper, right? We have done this for very, very large customers. We have done this in telecommunications for a very large US customer. We've done this for a huge, manufacturing customer, as we will see in the next slide, right? And this is the question I get from the CIOs. Right? Yesterday, I was talking to the CIO of a very large chemical manufacturing company. Right? He asked very specific questions. Harsha, tell me, where do you get all these savings from? One, upfront cost of migration is borne by Suneratech. We just talked about it. Two, what we do is the right sizing in cloud. Obviously, from DC to cloud, you're always provisioning as required, per required, because the scaling is automatic in cloud. That automatically brings in savings. What we also do, we apply our experience and intelligence to right size you in the cloud, right? That brings the hosting charges from DC to cloud substantially down. And we've seen them in the range of 40 to 45% easy, right? And Sunera technology then comes the managed services. We manage the environment at a much, much lower cost, usually on a device-based subscription model, like per device you pay so and so dollars, these many $100 per device per month. All services included. You're not worrying about the network, you're not worrying about the virtualization, you're not worried about the operating system, right? You're not worried about 24/7 service desk, raising tickets, and incident management, etc. Everything, the risk is transferred, the services come at a much cheaper cost, right, in comparison to data center. Now, the fourth thing, which is the software-related savings that our customers get through our partnerships, be it with Oracle or AWS in other cases, right? Be it with other software vendors, my largest manufacturing customer buys 20 pieces of software from us, right? And then in many cases, we just pass on the savings. If they approach directly, they usually get a markup of 20 or 30% more from us. So this is where the savings come from, right? And last, before we go into, we are platformized, right? We have a lot of, before we get into case studies, and I want to focus on this point, right? We did establish at the very beginning that we are platform driven, not a people-driven company anymore. We learned it the hard way. Reason? People leave, platforms don't. And platforms grow over a period of time. All the learnings from different customer experiences, my telecom, my manufacturing, my insurance, my financial customer that I spoke with some time ago, all these experiences come and become platformized, right? The platforms you're seeing here, very specific platforms that kind of address EBS lifecycle automation, EBS upgrade, cloud test automation, testing in cloud, the entire workflows, cloud native parts. These are things we build. These are the products we build, which have now evolved into platforms, right? Also, the entire managed services post-migration actually is platformized. When we say that, we are currently transforming one manufacturing plant, factory, for a customer in North America. We have transformed their hardware, their operating system, their security layer, and all of this we recorded and created standard operating procedures. We've created backup for their entire server infrastructure. We've created backup for their entire laptops and workstations. Just 4 quarters ago, they had none of this. Imagine the amount of security issues. Imagine the amount of overhead they had. Imagine the amount of non-uniformity they had amongst their software footprint across each plant. This is 35 plants across North America, Europe, South America, and Asia Pacific, right? We've standardized all this. And now all of this has gone into, all the learning and the processes have gone into our platform. And now what has it enabled? This standardization enabled that manufacturing customer to get into electrification quicker. And now the largest organization in that space has bought them, because we accelerated this business transformation from that customer. So cloud can do this to businesses. So that's the point I wanted to establish. Now I'll go straight to the case studies. We're going to talk about, through this with case studies. This is the manufacturing customer we're talking about. If you look at the leftmost tower, which is in blue, IBM was hosting the entire data center. As you can see, the infrastructure costs were $5.6 million per year. And the managed services cost were $4.7 million. And the minimal security that they were providing, literally in terms of the entire virus was $0.1 million. What we did for them is they had 80 workloads, right? They had EBS, they're an Oracle EBS shop. So they're an Oracle shop in terms of ERP, but everything else was non-Oracle. They were scared that, they did not know what was going to happen if I move non-Oracle workloads to Oracle. So we constructed, we architected the whole migration process. We said it will take 8 months. It will take 3 waves. Wave 1 will address, tier 3 applications, tier 2 and tier 1 in wave 3. Tier 1 being your most important workloads. So all the learnings from first wave will be applied in the last wave. So that plan we gave, and in the same zero cost model, we executed migration, and it cost in terms of cloud credits and people, all the time we put in, it cost us $6.6 million upfront, as you can see in the very second tower here, right? Zero to the customer. Data center was still on, everything was running, no impact to the business, zero cost to the customer. And when everything went live on October 31st, 2019, year 1, as you can see, the savings that they started making from year 1 was $4.68 million because the managed services cost went from 4.7 million to 2 million. Infrastructure cost went from 5.6 to 1.1 million. Security increased because we started providing a slew of security services, a full suite of security services. Still, the cost went down by 45%. That's 23.4 million, and we are in this year of year 1, 2, 3 completed, year 3 completed. The customer already made the $15 million. And this is something I was presenting to the CIO of the new organization, the large organization that acquired this customer, right? And nothing more better testifies this, right, than a live example where you are moving from a non-scalable environment to a highly scalable elastic environment where you can now spin up. The most important point about provisioning here, they used to take 4 weeks to provision a single virtual machine in data center. We crashed it to 24 hours. Yeah, you might come back and say, yeah, on cloud, you can spin up in minutes. I agree, but not the customized way, right? But customizations have to go in there. And now I have to patch all those things and take out all the vulnerabilities before I made it production, right? So that's why we crashed it to 24 hours. And we're trying to crash it even better. What that means is business can quickly, launch production apps. Now, plants can quickly, launch production apps. We're transforming their plants also. By the way, very interestingly, plants are going towards the other cloud. But since that is not the focus area, the point I'm trying to make is we're a multi-cloud organization. We move Oracle workloads efficiently and effectively to cloud. And we have done this for an insurance customer. This is an extended example, right? So as an insurance customer, this is a very specific example.
Harsha, just a quick time check. We have another 5 minutes left for the webinar.
Thank you.
Then we'll be open
so
for Q&A.
I want to leave here and it's the same example. We moved ABS workloads, we upgraded them, re-platformed them, right? So this is the advantage and the power of zero cost cloud migration. You're getting the money from the run operations. We are saving it for you, enabling you to move. Now you suddenly have savings coming from hosting also. Now you can pay us, right? So I will conclude there. I will pause for questions and answer Q&A session.
Okay. Thank you, Harsha and Ravi. We have a few questions right here. So the first question that we have is, Ravi, what are the areas that Suneratech would invest as part of the ZCCM apart from the man hours?
You want to take that, Harsha?
Yeah, I will take that. So apart from man hours, right? Cloud credits. So when you are migrating, you need to be migrating workloads. So you need to buy the cloud credits, right? First for POCs, then for actual production go lives and testing, and then production go lives. So we invest in that, right? And we also have the architectural knowledge that we carry from previous, right, experiences from our Easy Cloud platform. That is also coming into this. Any additional pieces of software that support migration, we bring it from the customers and invest in that, right? So these are the 3.
Okay, great. Thanks, Harsha. So next question that we have over here is, how many months, what is the duration that it would take for the migration for any Oracle workload to OCI?
I think Harsha froze there. So
yeah.
So for an entire data center where we had 80 workloads with 700 odd VMs, it took about 8 months. from February through October, if approximately. For a single Oracle EBS workload with about 10 odd integrations from an existing data center hosted at a third party, it took less than 3 months. So I would say between 2 to 3 months if it is Oracle EBS, and about, let's say, about a dozen integrations to migrate with, including Cameli objects. Now, in a case where we migrated, where we had to do an upgrade, there's a manufacturing customer where we had to do an EBS upgrade from 11i to R12 and re-platform their Sun Solaris to Linux. That took about 4.5 months because upgrade took about 2 months. And the reason is we have Ringmaster Suite, which does the automatic upgrade and all Cameli retrofits.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ravi. I think that helps, for a lot of people to understand, when they're planning for the migration, the duration. The next question that we have over here is, what is the performance that you see for the Oracle workloads after migrating to OCI? Or what the difference in the performance?
So we've seen about 40% better performance in the EBS application that we have. At least there are 3 customers we benchmarked that before and after. One was heavily customized, one was standard vanilla, and there are 2 customers who are mid-sized with less than $1 billion. One was $40 billion customer. So about 40% improvement in application performance overall. Okay.
So there's one other question that we have right now. Do you have any criteria when someone needs to choose for a multi-cloud? For multi-cloud.
Yes, we have that. It's a almost 6-dimensional view we have in which situation we should pick which cloud. I think maybe we can share that. It's a tool that we've built based on workload, based on criticality, based on multiple dimensions. So yeah, there's no cookie cutter because it depends on a lot of organizational topology and their awarenesses. So we have built a tool that recommends us on which cloud is the best.
Okay, great. Thank you. So these are the questions that we have. Ravi, maybe we can give a minute more if anyone has any other questions.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Santosh. Thanks for organizing this. You've been a great host. Harsha, fantastic job, as always.
Thanks, sir.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
So thank you, Ravi and Harsha. I would like to thank everyone for joining this webinar. I hope this has been useful and you have a better understanding about migrating the Oracle workloads to OCI. As a next step, I would send the link for this particular webinar for your reference. And you feel free to send me if you have any other questions that was not covered as part of this webinar. Please feel free to reach out to me, and we will revert to you in next 24 hours once we get your questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Harsha, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good evening.